I want him to shrug up his shoulder and back down. When you do this, you want to kind of look at the quality of the movement. Like, see how he does it. Does he protract when he does it, or just come straight up? Like, can he do what I want him to do? There's no stabilizing hand on this one. So all you need to do is just palpate the muscle and then apply the resistance. So number one, have him come up and go back down. He can contract. Now I'm going to palpate. I'm just going to palpate upper trap, sort of near the distal portion. So now go ahead and come up and back down. So I feel the muscle. Now I'm going to have him rotate just slightly away from the side I'm testing. I'm going to have him come up with his shoulder, and my hands are going to cross. So this hand is going to push down. This hand is going to push on his head because I'm trying to separate the two. Because the upper trap is trying to pull them together and I'm trying to pull them apart. Now, when I push, I want you to mostly use this hand down and a little bit of pressure on the head. You don't want too much pressure on the head, otherwise you're going to win for sure if you're the therapist. You're just going to push their head forward, so be careful about that. So he's turned away slightly, he's going to come up, hand here. Can you hold that for me? It's important to build up slowly. Hold, 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 and then slowly off. This is their neck, so you want to be really careful about how hard you push, make sure they really understand. Also, you're on the other side, so you can't see their face. You'll realize once you treat for a little while. It's always a little disconcerting when you're the therapist and you can't see their face because you're not sure, are they grimacing, are they happy about it, are they sad about it, right? So just keep that in mind when you can't see their face, it's harder. So if they can do that, then they're good. Then you can go to the table. So now, let's go this way. They're gonna be on the table, head facing forward. And arms at the side. Arms at his side here. There's two different ways you can do this. The first way is just do one side at a time. So I would stand on that side, but I'll stand over here. Go ahead and relax. So what I want him to do is just shrug his shoulder up and back down. There's a towel underneath it so that it reduces the friction. And I can just palpate the muscle only, up and back down, so then I know he's at least a 2. That's one way of doing it. Your book also shows, if you want to do both sides together, you can grab the anterior portion of the shoulder and just pull up into a slight retraction and now elevate. If you do it that way, you can't really palpate, which is not really a big deal. But if you do them together, you're going to pull the shoulders up and then have them lift up. This is actually kind of nice because when they lay down, their scapula go into protraction, so it might not be ideal. Whereas if you pull them back a little bit into retraction, now it's like a little bit better of a position for the muscle pull. If you're dealing with someone who has really weak muscles, it might be to their advantage to get them in a position where the muscle can pull in the correct direction. So what I would do is probably try this if they can do it, good. If not, maybe give them a little help and see, okay, now is that easier for you? So that you can kind of get a better judgment of that. So that's gravity eliminated. So this is upper trap and levator. Okay, try it. A couple things. On this one, you're gonna turn them away just slightly, and when you push, you're gonna push sort of in the direction of their nose. So you're not side bending them too much or coming from going straight down. So you just want to go in the direction that you've turned them. It's a slight turn, maybe 20, 30 degrees, and then push in that direction. And if you can, try to get above them so when you're pushing down, you're not pulling down, you're kind of pushing down on their shoulder and kind of separating those two out. What was the other thing? Oh, on the table, if there's no hole in the table, then just have them look straight down to the table. It's just going to be for a short amount of time. But as soon as you turn the head either way, that's going to change the line of pull of the upper trap. So it's not going to be that helpful when they're laying flat. Okay, everyone good with that? Head. So middle trap, we're going to have the head turned away. So we'll go on the flat part of the table. I want him in 90 degrees of shoulder abduction and full external rotation. So full external rotation is the position you want them in because that is going to help fire the middle trap more than any other position. So once I have him here, eventually I'm going to test him standing on the opposite side. But for now, I want to be over here because I want to show him the motion I want him to do. You're going to find that a lot of patients don't understand what you mean by bringing their shoulder blade back towards midline. They're going to have a hard time doing that. So you're going to spend some time over here with your hand in front, anterior shoulder. If I pull up on the shoulder, that takes him into scapular retraction, which is what I want him to do. So I'm going to have him here, and I'm just going to show him, this is a motion I want you to do. I can also come under here. just relax. So I want you to go from here and squeeze back there. Because what are they gonna wanna do? What are some of the substitutions you might see? Yeah, shrug is probably the biggest one, or tilt forward. So I'm here having him relax and just showing him the motion. As soon as I am comfortable with the idea that he knows what to do, now I'm gonna ask him, can you try to do that on your own? Okay, good, so he can do it on his own, so that looks fair. So now I'm going to just relax there. Now I'm gonna move to the other side. I'm gonna move to the other side. I'm gonna stabilize on the opposite side of the spine. And I want him to do that motion. I'm gonna palpate the middle trap between T1 to T5 on the lateral side of the spine. Go ahead and try that. So he does a good job of actually getting scapular retraction. What is one of the other substitutions he may perform that would also look like that, but wouldn't actually come from the scap? Posterior delt, like the glenohumeral joint motion. So try that. If you're here, and you just go into enough horizontal abduction, the scapula is going to go there, but you want the scapula to provide movement. So it's actually not that much movement. You shouldn't see a lot of movement coming from the glenohumeral joint. So I'm here, now I can palpate. Go ahead and try that. Good. Now once he's here, I'm going to put my hand on the more lateral portion of the scapula, get a little bit of purchase on the skin there, so kind of pull, as I push, the skin takes up slack. Now hold that, hold, and I'm trying to pull him away from midline. You want to stay off the medial border because the medial border has attachments, muscle attachments, and if you put your hand on it, it can be uncomfortable. So you're going to come off of the medial border so you're a little bit more lateral and try to slide the scapula away from midline. Questions on that? Okay, go ahead and sit up. So now, gravity eliminated. I'm going to have him in the chair. Oh, careful, stand up. All right, right there. I still want him in external rotation. So the thumb needs to be up. So I can get him to 90 degrees. I'll try that. Good. I'm going to stand over on this side to stabilize. I'm going to palpate same place between T1 and T5. Palpate there. And this is a very small motion. All I want him to do is just bring his scapula back towards midline. That's all. So go ahead and retract there. There you go, good. So he's kind of leaning into me, which is fine. I just want to make sure he's not rotating. Try again. Retraction and back. Making sure he doesn't elevate, just retraction. If they elevate, that doesn't mean you should just say, oh, they can't do it. Explain to them, okay, can you relax this muscle here and try to come from right here. A lot of times it's just they don't understand. So you're gonna spend a lot of time on this test, try to teach them how to contract the correct muscle. So when they're laying on the table and when they're in this position. If you work with them and you feel like they can't get it, which is not that uncommon, then that becomes your treatment, because possibly the problem is their middle trap is not working the way it should. They're using their upper trap more than their middle trap. And now you know that's a problem, right? This is a test you're gonna do quite a bit, and this is a muscle you're gonna strengthen quite a bit. Okay, so try that. We'll come around and try to help you. Now the head is turned away. The thumb, in your book, the palm is down, but thumb is up. Is fine. Palm down is actually, most research shows thumb up is better. So we'll do thumb up. And this is actually, this can be a little bit more difficult to get them to, because you want them to retract and depress. So I'm gonna have to come underneath here and raise him up. Can you bring your shoulder blade back and down that direction? Yeah, good. So go ahead and try that. So there he was retracting, but not as much depression. Try to pull, huh? Yeah, there you go. But then his arm kind of comes down. Okay, relax. Relax, there you go. So one thing you can try is take him in the position right there. Now hold that there. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Just see if he can actually hold his scap in that position, which you can see it's starting to come up a little bit. Relax. So now let's try to just try to come up that direction. Good. Hold that again. All right, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the other side. And I'm going to stabilize on the opposite shoulder, so on the lateral side or contralateral side of the spine. And I want him to do that motion. I'm going to palpate between T6 to T12. Go ahead and try that on the lateral portion of the spine. Good, that's good. Okay, now hold that there. Now I'm going to put my hand, not again on the medial border, but slightly lateral to that, and then hold and try to push him that direction. Ready, hold, 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 relax. So he's trying to depress and pull back, so I'm trying to elevate him and push him away from the midline. This is a hard muscle for people to turn on, and it's usually not as strong as you'd like it, so your partner will have a hard time probably. I'll just show you this. So when you get to ortho, that's the kind of the book method, but more likely what we do is we show them that position, so hold that right there, and then we stabilize and very gently push down to see if when we push on their arm, if their scapula can stay in that position, because that's a lot more torque on the scapula if you push out here. So for now, just do the one pushing the scapula. We just realized it's kind of a weird test because you're just pushing the scapula. This will actually tell you, can they take a little bit of force in their arm and maintain the scapula in that position? So you can at least try it with a partner. Okay. Your patient, like I had a guy on, what was that, Monday, who had very limited motion and abduction without shoulder pain. So then I couldn't really test his middle trap accurately because I couldn't get him. He can only get to about 90 degrees of abduction. So just keep that in mind. Like this requires that they get their shoulder into 130 degrees of abduction, which for some people is it could be difficult. So you might not be able to do it, or you might have to just do your best and do it a little bit lower. So this position is not for everyone. I think that was the only thing. Some other question? I think that's it. Okay, let's do rhomboid. Okay, so for the rhomboid, I'm gonna have him on the table. He has his head turned away. So all of them we've done today, I think with the exception of upper tract, the head is turned in the opposite direction. So head in the opposite direction, hand is like in the small of his back. I'm gonna put my hand again on the anterior portion of the shoulder because I want him, this is rhomboid, so what do I want him to do? I want him to retract and then downwardly rotate. So you can do it in 2 steps, it's a little easier. So retraction, I want him to pull his hand, lift his hand off of his back, but relax. I want him to do that by retracting his scapula. So everyone try it. Put your hand there. You could just pull your hand off your back and your scapula does not move at all. But now try to retract to get your hand off your back. That's a little different. So I need to show him, like I need you to retract your scapula that way. Good. And then once he's up, now I can say reach back towards your other pocket, and that's going to downwardly rotate the scapula. So it's off the back and then reach down and back. Good with that? So that's the motion I wanted to do on this side. Then I go to the other side. I'm going to stabilize the scapula and kind of the shoulder on the opposite side. I'm going to palpate the rhomboids in between C7 to T5, it's up on the board, C7 to T5, on the ipsilateral side of the spine, between the spine and the scap. So I'm going to palpate right here and then go ahead and do that motion for me. Good. So now when he goes there, he's going to hold that. I now can put my hand on the medial inferior border, that's okay. And I'm going to upwardly rotate him and protract him. So ready, and hold, 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 and relax. You'll notice on this one you can get a better purchase on the scapula because you're on the border, so you can push a little harder. So he's retracting and going down. I'm going to try to take him the opposite direction. Okay, gravity eliminated. Sit up. Face the TV. Oh, right here. Oh. So now I have him back, but when he does that, I want him to pull back and retract. So try that for me. Good, and then reach down and back. So he reaches with his arm. Can you try to relax there? Just retract scapula just slightly right there. Good. And now take your hand off and reach down. So he's mostly using his arm. He's having kind of a hard time downwardly rotating. So I'm going to stabilize here and palpate in the same location. So no force. This is gravity eliminated. Good. You guys need to see that? Okay. Can you feel it? Like this. Okay. So it's definitely not politically correct. This is the position you want. So as he comes up, you're looking for, this is really important with the serratus anterior, you're looking to see if he does what? What do you think you're looking for? Serratus anterior?
Protraction?
Upward rotation. That's the primary thing we're worried about. So I can stabilize here and just have him go ahead and go up, and I see he's upwardly rotating. That's step one. Okay, back down. Now I'm going to palpate the serratus anterior. It's in between the lateral border of the scapula and then the midline of the axilla. So right in between there along ribs 1 through 8 or 1 through 9. So you should be able to feel it. If I put my fingers in there, and have him go ahead and come up. You feel the serratus anterior just poke into your fingers. It's right along the ribs. So once I can see him do that, I can feel the muscle contract. So go ahead and go up again, right there. Now I'm gonna turn my body onto this side, and I'm gonna grab the distal end of the humerus, and I'm gonna put my hand here on the lateral border of the scapula, and I'm gonna try to rotate him down. I'm trying to de-rotate the scapula, right? The scapula rotated upward, and now I'm gonna try to downwardly rotate it. This hand here is working. I just give a little bit of retraction force so that he has to protract slightly, because that's the muscle does that, right? And then these two hands kind of work together. So try this, here and here. You're just gonna try to scoop down, like kind of like you're shoveling. So one hand is going down, you're scooping up, and you're trying to rotate the scapula down. And they're gonna try to push and hold. That's why they need to be on a firm surface with their feet on something, otherwise you're gonna push them over. Okay, ready, set, and go. Push, hold, 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 hold. So he's strong, I can move him on the chair, right? So there's no gravity eliminated, it's just, that's the only test. So let's review. Start back here. Hand at the side. I can watch him go up to 125 degrees with the palm down. I'm watching the scapula to see what kind of movement we get. Come back down. All right. Now go up there again. I can palpate as he goes. I can feel the muscle contracting. Now that he's 125 degrees, I turn around here, hand to the distal humerus, hand to the lateral border of the scapula, and I'm going to try to scoop down. And he's going to try to kind of push into me and hold it there. Okay, try it.